Good morning, everybody. I hope you all enjoyed your weekend, and I thank you for joining me for the third lesson of Words for Your Whiteboard. I hope some of the things that I've shared with you all have been very helpful in helping you to plan out and pursue your goals. And for that very reason, I wanted to start this video off a little bit different. Now that we're 3 videos in, I wanted to give you guys a little bit of insight related to change in general. That's what we're trying to implement right now, is change. We're trying to take the way that we've been living and alter it into the way that we want to live. Whether it's something small like losing some weight, or whether it's something big like changing our whole environment, trying to move up, trying to move out, trying to go to school full time, or trying to start a business. See, those are environmental changes. Those are things that are going to change the course of the way that we pursue life moving forward. And I wanted to give you all some encouragement related to that, because you have to understand that the bigger your goal, the bigger the change, the longer it may take. Or it may not take long, but the more it's going to cost you. So you're going to have to give up a lot. You're going to have to jump out and make sacrifices. You're going to have faith throughout this whole process, understanding that even though you can't see the change that you're trying to implement, that you're on your way there. See, it's the small things that allow us to get to the big goals. And a lot of times we only measure our change based off the milestones that we reach in life. Once we get the promotion, then we start to see the change in our life. We start to see what could come after that. Or once we lose the weight, then we start to go shopping again and trying to figure out the clothes that we're going to wear now that we are a smaller size. But you have to understand that change isn't just the milestones. Change is the small things that you implement on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, if that. See, the first thing you have to change is your perspective. You have to change your outlook before you can change your outcomes. And that's the things that's going to drive us to become something much stronger than what we are now, much better than what we are now. You see, before the sun rises in the morning, 12 hours have to pass from when it dropped down, depending on where you're located at. And it's every hour that passes by where it's still dark, but change is happening. It's getting there. We're getting closer to daybreak. And so you have to understand that the small nuances, the little things that you do in life are going to help you to get to those milestones. If you change the course of the pattern that you walk in the morning, or maybe talk to somebody different, or maybe eat a granola bar instead of a breakfast sandwich, or maybe just do 5 sit-ups in the morning, or maybe you listen to music when you take a shower instead of just trying to wake yourself up. Whatever it is that you're doing, if you just change a little bit, then you'll start to realize the fact that your outlook's going to change. You're going to start seeing yourself as a different person even before you get there. And that's what faith is. It's seeing what's there before it's there. And that's going to motivate you. That's going to continue to push you, because you can no longer go back to being the person that you were before. And so I encourage you right now to use these activities, use these tasks, use your whiteboard to say, I'm going to do these small changes every single day. I'm going to do this different. I'm going to approach life different using these small things. So I encourage you. And I wanted to go back to what we talked about last time, do a quick review of what we talked about in the last video. We talked about activity development. We talked about how we can use our experience of pursuing our previous activities and pursuing our goal, the work that we put in, and use it to make stronger and more detailed activities moving forward. The more knowledge we gain, the better our activities, the more detailed, the more specific they should be. We also talked about using considerations, time, scope, and cost to identify any risks that may come up. As we shorten or lengthen our time, as we change our scope, as our costs increase or decrease, we'll start to realize that we have a risk that come up that will keep us from reaching our goal. And so when we mitigate those risks, when we address those risks, we address it through strong activity development and making very specific, very tactful, very updated activities that are going to help us to continue down the path of reaching our goal. And so in this lesson, what we're going to talk about is time estimations. How we can start to time box our activities and ultimately time box our goal to make time estimates related to when we think that we're going to reach our goal. It's very important for your goals to be timely. You guys have heard of SMART: specific, measurable, actionable, and I'm blanking on the R right now, but realistic, that's what it is. Realistic, and the A is attainable. So very specific, very measurable, very attainable, realistic, and timely goals. And we're going to focus on the timely part right now, because timely allows us to make sure, it makes our goal very tangible. we can start to see the end progress. We're like, okay, in a month or so, I should be here. And based off of the activities that I have. And if I'm not there, then I need to either adjust my activities, or I need to adjust my schedule, or maybe I just need to get up and actually start doing my activities. Maybe I'm not even doing the work that I'm putting on the board. And so it's very important for all of your goals to be very timely, to be very measured, and to make sure that we try to identify how long it probably should take us to do these. And so in project management, what we do is we do something called the work breakdown structure, and I'll talk about this more later. But the work breakdown structure is basically taking the overall project, breaking it down into work products and doable pieces, and then estimating how long it's going to take those work products to be delivered on. And we're not doing anything different than what we're doing now. We basically took our goal, we broke it down into 3 steps. We broke those 3 steps down into 3 steps in our drill down, and we also took made our activities a little bit more developed. We try to put some rigor around how we create our activities. And now what we're going to do is we're going to estimate the time it's going to take us to complete each of those activities. We're going to put a time estimation next to them and say, you know what, this activity should take me about a week or 2, or maybe this one's going to take me a month, or maybe this activity is only going to take me a couple of days. And based off of that, what we're going to be able to do is we're going to be able to develop a schedule of milestones. Now, our milestones are those original 3 activities that we came up with, the top 3 activities to get our goal done. Now, after the last video, you may have went back and changed those things based off of how you use the principles above to create more developed activities. But whatever those top 3 things are, those are going to be considered our milestones. And they don't have to be dynamic. One doesn't have to come right before the other. If you have one goal that's if you have one task or activity that you can do, and maybe you can do it in parallel to the other one at the same time, or maybe you can do 2 before you ever complete 1, that's okay. We're just going to mark it down on our schedule. But you have to understand that if you do have tasks that are connected, if you can't go to 2 until you complete 1, then you have to make sure you build that time into task number 2. So I want you to take some time to analyze your activities, to figure out about how long it should take you to do it. Now, you could be completely off. You could be completely wrong because you're just doing an estimate right now, and you're doing what you think it's going to take you. But as you go back and start to pursue it, if you say, oh, I'm going to get up to running 2 miles a day, and you're huffing and puffing, and you're only through 1/4 of a mile, and you only gave yourself 3 days to get to 2 miles a day, well, maybe you should go back and use your dry eraser and try to figure out something more realistic, like maybe 2-3 weeks or something like that. And so I wanted to give you guys an example of how we would go about using this time estimation to track our progress and to make our goals more timely. We would develop a schedule using those first 3 activities that I mentioned before. Those will be our milestones. And I don't know if you guys can see the example down here at the bottom, but I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit more. So you see the example. We have a goal. Whatever our board is dedicated to, that's going to be our goal. And my goal is to teach people life management. Activity 1, and I have activity 2, and I have activity 3. Now, whatever those activities are for you, that's fine. I didn't want to write them out. I just put activity 1, 2, and 3 just for the example. And so you see, I say activity 1 is going to take me 1 week to do. Activity 2 is only going to take me 3 days to do. But activity 3 is connected to activity 1. Activity 3 can't happen until activity 1 is done. So maybe activity 1 is get a mile a day going. And let's say activity 3 is get 2 miles a day going. And let's say activity 2 might be eat healthier. See, I can eat healthy and I can get 1 mile a day in. I can do activity 1 and 2 in the same amount of time. At parallel, not the same amount of time, but I can do them together. But I can't get to 2 miles a day until I get to 1 mile a day. So that's why activity 3 can't be started or completed until activity 1 is completed. So you see over here on this simple time scale that I created, I put October 1 to September 1 as my time frame. I gave myself a month. And I put activity 2 on first because that one's only going to take us 3 days. So I marked activity 2 as the first milestone. And then for activity 1 is the second milestone because that's going to take a week. And activity 3 can't be started until activity 1 is completed, and that's going to take me 2 weeks from today. So, or you can do it if you want to, if they're connected. You can also say activity 3 is going to take me 1 week, but I just can't start until a week out. So it ultimately makes 2 weeks. So it's however you want to track it. Just make sure that you show it on your milestone chart here. You'll see that down here at the bottom is a colored in space. That's our buffer. Every project has buffers. If you think it's going to cost you $10 million, you need to put in a buffer of about 20%. And make sure that you put in more money because there's always going to be things that you don't see. Same thing with schedule. If you think it's going to take you 2 years to do it, you may want to put in a buffer of about 6 to 8 months just to make sure, because there's always going to be things that we don't see, the things that we don't take into account. You may get really busy at work. You might have a project that comes up that you won't be able to completely give as much time as you originally thought to this. And then over here we see between the buffer and September, we see overdue. We see that we're past the time. We're past our buffer. And so when you reach overdue status, when you get out of time, what you're going to do is you're going to make some adjustments. You're either going to adjust your original estimations because those were completely off, or you need to make sure that you're actually doing the work, that maybe your estimations were right if you were focused on what you're doing, but maybe you've lost focus, maybe you haven't been pursuing it the way that you need to be pursuing it. So you need to adjust your outputs. You need to adjust your focus, your attention. You need to adjust the work ethic that you're putting into reaching our goal. And then the last thing you see down here is estimation completion date. So whatever that date is after the buffer, you should be able to estimate that date as your completion date. So for here, by the time we reach August 20th, we should be eating healthier every day. We should be up to 2 miles a day running, and we still haven't reached September yet, so we're in good shape. So I want you to kind of use this template to start time boxing your activities so that you can start to estimate about how long it's going to take you to reach your goal based off of your current estimations. As you get more information, as I mentioned in the last video, go back, update your activities, update those time estimations, and use them wisely so that you can figure out something very tangible in pursuing your goal. Same thing with the considerations. If you have something that introduces risk and you need more time, go back, update these activities so that you can give yourself more time to do it. Or if you're making more progress, maybe shrink the time and challenge yourself a little bit more. Use this. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you have any comments. Thank you guys for joining me, and I look forward to interacting with you soon. Bye.